Alright, hello everyone, it's Team Koopa Gaming, I'm Sam Koopa. I'm going to be making another thumbnail using paint.net, and I thought I'd have fun streaming it like I did last time. So I'm going to be going over some techniques, and this is for the program, but paint.net is basically a advanced image editor like GIMP or Photoshop that is completely free and available to download. You can check the description for the video, or description of the video, for a link to the website. So actually, here I'll show you what the website looks like. Because when I first looked up paint.net, I actually got a website of it was a site selling paint. Kind of funny. Here's what the website looks like, so you know what it. You don't go to some other place, and you just click here, and you can download it. So anyway, once you download paint.net, this is what you'll see. Hey, Alex. So this right here is the program. I actually installed it on my secondary hard drive so that I could show you what it's like without all the effects I added. But when you first open it, you'll see this. So what you're going to do first is add an image. Very easy. You can just drag it on there. So every week I do a poll to see what games you'd like to see me play. So this last week, where am I at? Oh, there we go. The poll was between these two games. Yeah, I just threw the image on there. So, however, which one of these actually won? Actually, Mario Brothers 3. So I'll be playing that later today. I figured I'd make a thumbnail for Super Mario Brothers 3 on this stream. So I already have some images ready. Right here. I'm gonna use this one. I was almost thinking of playing the Game Boy Advance version, but I'll be playing the All-Stars version. So just click, drag it over, drop it in. Then you can open it, or I can add it to layer here. So if I open it, it'll end up over here. I have two tabs. Yep. Hey, Green Fuzz. Alright, so here's what we're going to be working with here. There's some here. Let's go ahead and take a tour around our tools here. So here are all the toolbar icons. You can remove them by clicking on them here, in case you want a less cluttered experience. So I usually have these all out. I don't usually use this one, but this is the history bar. I usually just go over and click the undo button, but this is actually handy because you can scroll through all the various things you've done. As you can see, the first thing I've done so far is open the image. If I go over here, I can add a new layer, and you can see now it's on my history bar, or history tool window. So if I click open image, it'll remove that layer. So basically what you can do here is if you've got like 20 things here, you can go back to a specific step you were at and go back directly just by clicking on it, as opposed to constantly clicking the undo button. I don't use this very often, but I can see this being very useful for some people. So there's that. So one of the things I wanted to show off that I didn't quite show very well last time is how to make a transparent background for an image. So let me go and get an image that is a transparent background. I think if I can find one, I don't have that. Let's see. Well, here, I'll just add a background to one that doesn't have one. In fact, let's do this one, because I'm going to probably use this one. I already have a very fitting image for this thumbnail, as you can see. Alright, so in the case that you have most commonly white, right? A lot of images you'll find on the internet have a white background. So, in order to remove a white background, you're going to need to find the transparent color. And you might ask yourself, well, where is it? Here is our color wheel, as you can see. You select it to secondary, it'll change what your secondary color is. And of course, right-clicking uses the secondary and left-clicking uses the primary color. But there is no transparent, as you can see. So you're going to have to hit the more icon. And now you can adjust levels of the colors individually. What you want to do now is hit this block right here. And look, there it is. Well, not quite. You want to take this and turn it all the way down to 0. Otherwise, it'll create like a kind of a fog around instead. So go to 0 here. Alright, now we have the paint bucket tool. I think everybody pretty much knows what this does, but this is for filling areas. So any color that I click, every color of a similar color, every pixel of a similar color will be filled with the color I selected. So, however, as you can see, I just clicked on it and nothing happened. So here are a couple of things you got to make sure with this program that got me rather stuck for a while. First things first, you need to come up here. You have this blending mode. When you interact with your image, these are different settings you can apply for how what you're doing affects what you're coloring over. I'll pretty much always leave it on overwrite, but there are definitely good uses for all of these. I probably won't cover these today, but in other words, you're going to need to go to overwrite, because the way it works is if I wanted to change the color of this to blue, it'll work fine, but the difference is when using the transparency color, it counts as though you're technically erasing it rather than coloring over it. So you're going to have to go to overwrite mode and then do it. Next, we have this very important thing. As you can see, it's showing me the exact pixel that I clicked on, and it's still technically counted as it's effective. In fact, watch as I can change colors. Which is a really cool thing about paint.net. It counts as though I still have that particular action queued. If I want to end that action, I can click here on the finish button. Right here, let me actually... There we go. Perhaps now you guys can see a bit better. Other than all these images that are in the way. Oh. We don't need those anymore. Alright, now, go back to our transparency. And then we have this right here, it's called the tolerance bar. This is very handy. So whenever you use the fill tool, right, it'll affect the pixels of the same color that you clicked on. However, if you have the tolerance bar at 0, it'll only affect those particular pixels. So you may not see it, but there's now going to be a white, although this image probably won't have that problem because it was already transparent to begin with. But sometimes you might have a white residue around your image. As the colors kind of blend, you'll see kind of an off-white color instead of a pure white color. That's what you'll use this for. However, bear in mind, if you put this to a really high percentage, it'll start deleting your image. As you can see. So, this is incredibly handy because, like I said, I am still in the middle of this action, so I can set it to a high number. Oops, I don't want to do that. Then I can set it back down. Alright, now that we have this completed, I have one more thing to mention about making transparent backgrounds. So another thing you need to be aware of is the select tool, right here. Bear in mind that if you try to do an action outside of the field you selected while you have this open, it will fail. So let's try and make the background blue again. And as you can see, it won't work. It's adding to my history, but it isn't going to do anything. Hello, Meowdorp. This is to prevent you from coloring outside of the dotted line. Pretty handy, but it's very easy. You can see, it only goes in that square. The handy thing is that it prevents you from coloring outside of the line. However, the problem with that is very often I will have a selected square like so, somewhere on my image, and I'll forget about it and try to do something, and nothing will happen. So if in fact you're having problems making transparent backgrounds or even just using anything, make sure you check you have a selected area and unselect it. So anyway, we're going to want to copy this picture and move it into our main image here. Easy way to do that is to click on the move selected pixels. If you do that when you don't have any pixels selected, it'll select the entire image. So then we can just use our quick keys Control and C, copy the image, and our image is over here in this other tab. So let's go ahead and just Control. Actually, wait. We don't want to do that. Actually, I'll show you what happens if you do that though. We only have one layer here. Let's go ahead and paste it. As you can see, we only have one layer, so the transparent background is, well, unpleasantly following us, isn't it? Let's go back one. Right there. Go back two, I guess. So let's go ahead and add a new layer. And the layer goes on top. You can rearrange them however you want, but bear in mind, of course, the top layers take priority, so if I paste something to this layer while it's down here, it won't be visible, because this image is not transparent. Alright, so here we have our Tanuki, or actually our raccoon tail Koopa. Grab any of these circles, you can resize the image. You can also resize the image just using numbered setting, if you prefer, but I used to just do it that way. It's easy. I'm not too picky about being precise. If you know precisely how big you want an image to be, you can resize it. You might want to do that here, though. A lot easier to resize it here than here. Anyway. So, now we gotta figure out where we want to put this guy. Boy, he looks so much better than the rest of the image. That's okay. I'm not gonna stress this image too much. Oops, I did not want to open that. There's the website again. Alright, actually, one thing I didn't remember to get, the title, the game's title, which... Well... Let's actually try doing so. Try actually ripping the image, ripping it from another image. Alright, so I actually have the image I found online copied instead of saving it. Oops, we don't want to do that though. Let's make a new file over here, or you can go here, whatever you prefer. So as you can see, it gave me a specific pixel width and height. That's actually based off of the image I have on my clipboard. My clipboard is of 1280 by 720. It's a good size. Alright. Here we go. This is the title screen image. So, now we're going to try and use the magic wand tool. This is one of my favorite tools. It allows you to select similar pixels. Really great for taking something. So let's say you wanted to take Mario's sprite. And you wanted to, per se, just cut him out and make him his own image. We're going to need to use this though, as you can see. So we're going to try and do this with the text. We'll see how well this goes, because this can go kind of terribly at times. If I want to catch the shadow here. So, let me go ahead and actually discuss how the magic wand tool works. We have a bunch of different modes here. Might be a bit hard to see. But we have the replace mode, the add union mode, the subtract mode, the intersect mode, and the invert, which is known as XOR. So we're on replace right now. We're going to be cutting this out. We're going to want the add one. What that allows me to do is every time I click on another thing, it'll add it to the list of selected pixels. However, if I use the subtract tool, it'll remove pixels, like that. I'm going to definitely want to start over because we have a mess of pixels everywhere. This also applies for the move selected pixels, the ellipse, and also the move selection tools. All these tools work within this same settings here. So now that I have these pixels selected, I can go to subtract, get rid of them. Or I can go to replace and click anywhere on the screen and they're gone. So let's go ahead and put it on add, the magic wand out. Start clicking on the text here. I can change the tolerance bar like I did earlier when I was using the fill tool. You can see this is too much. I don't want that much of the image there. You'll find very often it doesn't want to grab certain colors, so kind of have to click around various spots. Hey, Mark. So, like I was saying earlier, Paint.net, I have a link to the download if you want for Windows. The software is entirely free. You can donate to them, but it's not required. And the program is not limited if you choose to not download or not to donate. I think I'll ignore grabbing them. This is basically a tedious process, but this is how I do a lot of my thumbnails. But I enjoy it. In fact, to spare you of the process, we'll move on to something else instead, actually. I'm going to leave this open. So long as I don't close this window, which you can close by clicking on this X up here. And if you do, it'll ask you if you want to save it or not. But we can leave that there. Instead, let's have some fun with something else instead. Let's go through some effects. I actually have a fun time doing so. So let's go ahead and grab our bushy-tailed right here. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So now that we're on this image again, you come up here, you have the main tool, or I guess the options bar, and you can see there's file, edit, view, image, layers, adjustments, and effects. So adjustments, here are all the basic adjustments. There are also on the paint.net website, there are free plugins made by various other users. I re-downloaded the software to my other hard drive so I could show you what it looks like without all the plugins. I went crazy and like downloaded all of them. But anyway, so here are some of the adjustments. Most of them involve changing the color levels and such. So we can make, you click on this one called black and white, you can make the image black and white. Pretty simple. And again, we can always undo, like so. Or redo. Auto level is really weird. I don't really use it very often. Spooky. Nighttime. Have brightness and contrast. So let's say you want to make it look like I'm in the dark. Or just make something really strange. Again, you can cancel that and it undoes everything. You can even do a sepia tone. All at the simple click of the mouse. So here are the effects. I use these quite often. They're quite fun. You have them in different categories. Let's go ahead and go through the artistic ones. As you can see, we can make an ink sketch Koopa. Pretty cool, right? Bear in mind the ink sketch does give you a white background. So, of course, you're going to make the transparency fill tool to fix that, unless you want the white background. You can adjust the effect. And it shows you what it looks like in real time, which is... If you want, you can recenter this to the center by clicking on these arrows. This takes the color out of it. So this is very colorful. We have the oil painting mode. I've used this one a couple times. Kinda cool, right? I like how simple these tools are. We have pencil sketch. This one is also kind of neat. I made a, I used this making a, to make like a coloring page Koopa. Required some fine tuning though. Bear in mind, you can also use an effect twice in a row, or you can use multiple effects. And of course, depending on what order you use them in, it also remembers your last one, so you can have it repeat it. And you can see it just got even more white. So, keep going. We have blurs. I use these occasionally too, especially when I'm using lower quality images for my thumbnails to make the Koopa image aspect look more appropriate. Oh boy, that is quite painful. There we go. We could make a fast motion Koopa with that, maybe. Or we can use the motion blur. Yeah, that would work better for that. I don't use blurs too incredibly much. I tend to use the artistic tools, the distortion tools. Sometimes I use noise, not for too often. And the photo. Stylize is also handy as well. Let's go through some more of these. Bulge is kind of strange, but what it does is it makes a certain area, well, bulge essentially. You can actually click what area of the image you want. Give super large nose. Bear in mind, if you're going to do any editing with this, you might want to change the size of the image canvas. But let's go do that. So in order to do that, go to the image tab, go to canvas size. There's also the quick key if you want, but I don't really use those too often other than for copying and pasting. Alright, so we're going to want to make the image bigger because when we're editing it and doing things like the bulge, it'll actually overlap outside of our work area. Let's go ahead and make this width and height a bit larger. And you can see this is an important part right here. If this is in the middle, whenever I make it bigger, it'll go bigger in every direction. So with the width, it'll go left and it'll go right. With the height, it'll go up and down. And if I move both, it'll go in all directions. So let's go ahead and increase here. How about 572? Go up to 620. Okay. So let's go ahead and hit OK. See, we have a much bigger area now. We're gonna want to get transparent though. Get our fill tool, like so. All right. And of course, here's the color picker as well. This is also, of course, a handy tool. I'm sure you guys know how to use this. Click on an item. Bear in mind, if you are on the wrong layer, as you can see, this layer is entirely transparent. So let's say I wanted to color pick yellow. I'm not going to get yellow. I'm just going to get more transparent color. So be aware of what layer you're on. Now I got yellow. Alright, so go ahead and go back to our bulge. Bulge effect. There we go. So we want to make large nosed Koopa. This is where it's located. We have a bar for the horizontal and vertical axis. Bigfoot. This is the effect. Also make it tiny. This is rather that's rather interestingly disturbing. That looks like he's looking into a funhouse mirror. I don't know about this one. Alright. Hey, Jack. We have crystallize. I've used this one once or twice. If you really amp it up, you're gonna get random gobbledygook. Hey look, it's Koopa abstract art. This kind of reminds me of like a mosaic image. You can also tell it to randomize the shapes of the little textures. Have dents. This one's kind of weird. It's almost like staring into something like into the water. It's kind of got like a watery effect to it. You can see you can definitely do some really cool things with these effects. And now we're scattering all the pixels. I have Jack, but I'm actually using a different version. I installed on my secondary hard drive so I could show off the basic plugins. I downloaded way too many plugins actually. Makes it load slightly slower. I've used this one quite a few times. Frosted glass. I'm just using that. Oh, anyway. Of course, pixelate. We all want to use this one, right? Pixelation is handy, right? When you're doing 8-bit stuff. You want to make something look kind of 8-bit really fast. Yep. This is beautiful. Alright, let's go to the noise tab. The noise is basically like when you have your TV and it doesn't have a signal. You get that very grainy look. So when you see the tab that says noise, think grainy. So if you put it really lightly, you give that kind of cool effect right there. Do it lightly, or you can do it not lightly. I like to use the glow occasionally, though I use the glow a lot with text, more so than characters. Oh yes, that right there is perfect. Jack. So I had a lot of fun when I first got the program, just messing with a lot of these. Oh yeah, we gotta use the red eye removal. Because Sam Koopa's got red eyes, not. No, but I've never had to use that. So one of the tabs you need to bear in mind is the render one. This will actually make objects appear over your image. So if we do clouds, as you can see, it just covered my entire image with clouds. In order to prevent it from covering the entire image, you can make a layer underneath it, or you can change the blend mode. Let's see how these look. We have multiply, have additive, color burn, color dodge, select, glow, overlay, difference, negation, lighten, darken, green, and Zor. Which Zor is weird. Let's go with multiply. To change the scale of those rendered object down to really tiny. Change the roughness, maybe. Oh, it's pronounced XOR. Means one, but not both. Interesting. To be honest, I had never seen that phrase till after I'd started using it. Thank you, Nadict. Nadict's probably being driven nuts by hearing me say that more than once. Alright, I've honestly never used this one. Why? Oh, this is an interesting shape. Well, perhaps it's Zor in Jacklandia. Okay, anyway. We have one more render. Oh, I've never used this one either. Wow. Kinda cool. That's kind of a winter wonderland. Okay, maybe not. Alright, and we have the stylize tab. This one is particularly handy. These two. Particularly this one, I use this one quite often. Did I show off the median from the noise? Actually, I didn't, you're right. There you go. Look at that. Isn't that just... Okay, that's terrifying. Let's get out of here. You horrifying monster. Are you happy now, Jason? Alright. So here's the outline tool. I like the one... I have an outline tool that I, plugin that I download. It's way better than this one. So as you can see, it's outlining where various colors change. Like the color of the shoe is green instead of the body being tan and yellow. Oh yeah, there we go. So that one's not as useful as the one I use. Have the relief. It looks like a plaque. Fancy, right? I didn't use it cross. I've used this one for the iron fish. For anyone who knows that joke, I made the iron fish using this one. Change the angle. Kind of like the light shining at it from a various angle. As you can see. Alright, well. That is pretty much all the effects. I didn't go over all of them. And of course, you can definitely play with them all. So, once you're done with whatever image you're doing, definitely want to make sure you save it. Yes, it is. This Captain Toad. We're gonna take that one. I don't think I have this saved at all. Oh, here, we'll save this one. All my various. There's Alex the Lion. All my various images here. There. Save. Save that. Now, of course, you can save a number of image types. The one it's going to start with first is probably the PDN file. PDN file is the file that it uses the to store the layers and other such information. So, in the case of this image, our PDN file, name it first here. So let's say I don't finish, I can come back to it and it'll have my layers set up the way it is. If I save it as any other file type, the layers will vanish. Well, actually, to be honest, I've never used half of these. But I know BMP, GIF, JPEG, PNG, TIFF. Actually, not TIFF, but all of these I've used before. I've never heard of direct draw surface, though. But Paint.net will save the layers. I actually save my PDN files for pretty much every thumbnail, and it's actually paid off as I've come back to grab certain stuff from them. So you can save that like that. Actually, let's see, how much space did this one take up? 2.22 megabytes. Okay, Jack. My most commonly used images are JPEGs and PNGs. PNGs are great for transparency images. So, if you want to grab an image and make it transparent. Oh, okay. Very helpful, Natic. Thank you. Now I know. Alright. So yeah, if you want it to be like, hey, I made this transparent and I want to save it, make sure you save it as a PNG file. Otherwise, it won't save the transparency. Never used it either. I'd never heard of it before messing with this program. So, bear in mind that, yeah, exactly, Jason. JPEGs don't support transparencies. So, if you finally finish that image you're making transparent, make sure you save it as a PNG file. PNG files are actually pretty high quality, and as such, they're kind of big at times. So, if you need something like a thumbnail, you're probably going to want to save it as a JPEG. I tend to save mine as PNGs, though, but JPEGs are much smaller. Bear in mind that YouTube thumbnails have to be 2 megabytes or smaller. So, Sometimes if you're having problems with the size, change file types. Alright, well we know what we're missing on this image, right? Besides the title screen. I almost decided to do the Game Boy Advance version today, so this would have been the image I'd have used, probably. Or for no reason in particular. Where's my mouse at? Mouse is vanishing. Weird. Oh, there it is. That was strange. Anyway. Let's go and find us. Where we go here. No. There we go. An icon. I put a lot of icons in this folder here. I have various different ones for making stuff. I even have Discord icon. I use that on my Twitch profile. So, one of the things I gotta do is figure out which Team Koopa icon logo I want to use. I have a lot of them. What is JPEG? That's a good question. Alright, so perhaps what we want to do is... let's use this one. And we'll do the green fuzzy shell. So, I was playing around with colors. Here, let's actually use the same color. I call this the green fuzzy shell. Because from a distance, it's kind of a little fuzzy. It's because of the black. All I did for this was very simple. I just took the color green. I used the fill with the bucket. But I kept the tolerance at a low. Simple. Select the image, copy with Control and C. Add another layer, and then Control plus V to paste it over. Oh look, the image being pasted is larger than the canvas size. What do you want to do? I can expand the canvas so it fits this image, or keep the canvas the same size, or stop the action. So I would say in most cases I keep the canvas size, but I'll show you what happens when you expand it. So my secondary color got used to fill the expanded area. As you can see, this icon is really big. So we're going to undo that. And paste it again, but keep the canvas size. Now we're going to shrink this shell. Most not precise way possible. Put you there. The reason why I wanted to use the green shell is because I feel like the black one wouldn't show up well, especially right here. It would probably show up okay up here. But definitely not down there, because the black was already there. Alright. Now the only thing that's missing is that text. The text that I couldn't find by itself. Let's see. Really? I was not aware of that, Jason. Let's try that out, shall we? So if we hold shift while Resizing it. Oh yeah. Thank you, Jason. That prevents me from changing the aspect ratio. So it'll always have the same orientation. I don't know, orientation. I guess aspect ratio is the right word. Look at that. This is another great thing. The last time I streamed Paint.net, I also received some tips too. So it's not only cool that I can share with you guys how I use this program, but it's also cool that you're showing me how you use it. Alright, so anyway, we're on a hunt. Well, I wanted to use the Super Mario All-Stars one, but I found the not All-Stars. Make a new image. Let's give ourselves another layer. Wait, I forgot to do Jason's advice. I think right there is fine. Maybe. What do you guys think? Maybe not. I think that. Alright, anyway, that's really all I need for a thumbnail. I try not to get too involved. After all, I have more fun playing the games than making thumbnails. But making thumbnails is rather fun. Alright, so now that we have that done, let's go over the layers and how they're affected when you save your file. So, we want to save our PDN file now that we made some changes. Now, of course, you can turn the layers off by clicking on this. As you can see, the shell is definitely one size there. And of course, rearranging them has a drastic effect. Or can, anyway. But if you save the file to like a PNG or a JPEG or any other image type besides paint.net, while these are unclicked, they will not be added in the final image. And so what's going to happen when you save a PNG or a JPEG is the image is going to become flattened, right? Think of the layers like a sandwich, right? And you have the various things, items in it, the meat, cheese, lettuce, bread. So when you flatten it, all the layers are going to be put on top of each other, and the ones that are not visible will not end up in the sandwich. So be aware of that. So let's go ahead and save it. And then we have this quality bar. You can really make it look terrible. Hey look, it's like watching the cartoon. Yep. On my VHS or something. Oh hey, Mikey. Let's go to the best quality. So it's going to tell us, saving in this file format requires that the image is first flattened, which reduces it to a single layer. Flatten. Now we have one layer, and as you can see, my Koopa didn't get added in there, because I didn't have him selected. So let's go back. Turn that layer back on. And now save it. We're going to overwrite it, of course. Hit OK. Flatten again. And look, there he is. Alright. So, in the case of an image like this one, I actually have one with a background. My advice to you, if you want to add a background to an image like this, is to simply add a layer. put it underneath. So let's go ahead and add blue. That is the better way to do it. Easier way to do it. Rather than trying it like this. And you can see how that went. So if we want to have maybe, let's say, something kind of Thanksgiving-like. Like that. Hello, Team Kid. Tim Kid. The layer on top. Another method you can do, also to bear in mind, there's also the flattening option. Or merging option, actually. So that basically acts as though you're flattening the images. So you can take layer 5, for example, and merge it down one layer to layer 3. Layer 3 was also not visible, so put that one back. Let's merge it to layer 4. Of course, you can also duplicate, delete, and select up and down. Rearrange them. I just drag them. Alright, let's do something kind of fun here. Let's find, where's our, here it is. Undo that merge. Alright, so here's our Team Koopa Gaming logo. Let's change the blending mode of the layer. I've used this a couple times. You can also change how transparent it is. Right here from the layer properties. So everything in that particular layer is going to be affected. We only have this one image on the layer, so not a whole lot going on there. Sometimes I like to play with this just to see what happens. In this case, this is a very terrible place to do this. Oh, that's interesting, right? Look at that. Yeah, maybe you'll be able to see better if I do this. Yep, it's pink. Alright, well anyway, we have our image here. Finished it up. And now we're ready to apply it. Not so pink. I do have a pink shell though. Oh, this is actually purple. Never mind, I don't have a pink shell. Excuse me for not knowing my inventory. Wait, yes I do. There we go. Isn't that fabulous? Couldn't help myself. I was curious to see what it looked like. I didn't like it, but I saved it. Anyway, I'm going to be streaming some Super Mario Bros. 3 later today. And that's why we made this fantastic thumbnail. Yes, lavender. Thank you, Nadict. Alright, so we're going to be playing, I'm going to be playing some Super Mario Bros. 3. I'm going to be playing the All-Stars version because I've already played NES version on stream. One of these days, I got to play the Game Boy Advance port because I know it has extra stuff in it. So I'm going to use this thumbnail here. I'm going to be playing this pretty much in the next 20 minutes after this stream is over. So let's go ahead and close up here. I'm gonna go ahead and get that other stream posted so you guys can go over there if you would want to join me for some Super Mario Bros. 3. Also, it's reminded me, I have the weekly poll is already up. This week it's Donkey Kong Country versus The Legend of Zelda. So I thought it'd be fun for this month that I would pick games that are really good as opposed to last month. So since Thanksgiving is the biggest holiday of this month, I figured I'd pick games that we can all be thankful for. So these are two excellent games. So if you guys want to see me play Donkey Kong Country, you can check the description below. I have the link to the vote. I'll also post it in Discord, and well, there's even a Nightbot command, but we'll see if that even works. There we go. So, excellent games. You guys get to choose which one of them gets streamed next week. This week, however, we're playing Super Mario Bros. 3. Which will be starting very soon. Just as soon as I get everything set up. Well, thanks guys for hanging out. Really cool to have you guys come by while I make this thumbnail. So, go ahead and close up here. Get that out of there. So, Paint.net's really fun. Like I said before, it's completely free. It got started as an alternative to Paint, and that's one of the reasons why I found it so easy and intuitive to use. Everybody pretty much knows how to use MS Paint. This right here is in fact very easy to use like it. The way it's set up is extremely similar. So I tried to get into GIMP. It's a bit more complex. I'm pretty sure GIMP has more power and more tools, but Paint.net is definitely a lot easier to use. And I've also used Photoshop, which is also complicated. So if you're just getting new to advanced image editing, I highly recommend Paint.net. It's completely free, unlike Photoshop. GIMP is also free, if you're okay with using that. So go ahead and check it out. The website, which I have in the description below. So you could make a new layer. Yeah, I had a similar problem, Jason. If nothing else, this will be a good tutorial on how to use those other more advanced programs. They are similar, but more complicated. Anyway, so, as always guys, remember to stay Kooptastic and have a fun time doing so. Thanks for joining me for this, and continue making cool stuff. Get images, other media. Be creative out there, everyone. I'll see you all soon for Super Mario Bros. 3. Bye.